on the river. Um, Nothing got there on the river that that would make any sense for me to have. Like I wouldn't check raise the flop with pocket eights, and I wouldn't check the turn with 10-9 if I check raise the flop with a gut shot. So none of my value hands make any sense. So I'm assuming he can read some hands, and I'm also assuming that he is gonna maybe be a little colly or a little goofy in the beginning of this video. Left hand side is just a really tough spot. Really difficult. Not really much else to say. I have a pair and a gut shot on the turn. Definitely a clear check call. I 3-bet a pre-flop with the intention of getting it in because I assumed he was going to 4-bet me light. Didn't happen. River, I just decided to check fold. River's a really weird spot. I just don't know how light he's shoving for value. 2 pair hands, I would assume he's shoving most 2 pair hands. But there's also quite a bit of 7s in my range. So with the knowledge there's quite a bit of 7s in my range, I just am not sure how light he's shoving for value or how light he's shoving as a bluff. Left hand side, he may be misclicks. I just have no idea. The turn, I am going to just check call. No reason to lead because it just wouldn't make much sense to lead unless I thought he was just going to call with a lot of 1 diamond hands that would otherwise check through, and then in which case I'd be leading for protection. But I just don't think that's valid here. Right hand side, I had a 6 blocker. I thought for just a split second about raising it up, but I elected not to. Raising his lead. Left hand side, then I just fold the river. Kind of one of those uncomfortable spots. Yeah, maybe he was bluffing. Yeah, maybe I'm ahead of his bluffing. I just have no idea. Right hand side, I have the old 2 and the 8. I'm going to use that as a blocker, I think. I mean, it's kind of gay to call it a blocker, but basically just the mid-pair blocker takes away some combos of his top 2 type hands and his set type hands that might lead, etc. I'm just going to go ahead and raise it up. It's the first time I've raised it up too, so I'm going to get some credit probably. On the left-hand side, I guess I played a relatively standard hand. I hate when people usually say that in videos, but I just called pre-flop with a suited ace and I just folded. First time 4-bets me, I just decided to fold. I've done stupider things than get it in there, but I don't really recommend it. Right hand side, I threw a pre-flop by continuation bet on the flop. The turn is kind of meh. I'm not gonna barrel because he assumes I'm gonna probably barrel with a lot of stuff like flush draws, and I can't go bet check bet on the river because I can't represent king queen or many jacks because most of them bet the turn. Same with 7-8. Like most of those hands bet the turn. I can't really rep much, and then I check and he just bets. And I assume he has like jack 9 or queen jack or king jack or something. I mean, it doesn't matter. I just can't really, just nothing I can really do about it. So he starts off about a buy-in and a half. It looks like he started off playing well. I mean, he perceived to have played well. He leads on left hand side again on low coordinating board, and I just decided to fold it. I'm still kind of feeling him out. I'm still in the process right now, kind of feeling out what's going on. So right hand side, I raised queen 7 suited. I continuation bet with a backdoor flush draw. Now, whether or not I can 2-barrel this 9 turn really depends on whether or not he can have check call the flop with king high. So if he check calls the flop with king high, he's basically setting a precedent. I think that's what he did. Yeah, he check called the flop with king high. He's setting a precedent for me to open up my barrel range, and he's going to have to call me down lighter. So I assume that he knows that, and so I am going to go ahead and adjust myself based on that. Now I'm going to start out 4-betting him early because again I'm going to go with the monkey see monkey do thing where I think that he assumes that I just saw him 4-bet recently, and so I'm looking to 4-bet. So I do 4-bet, and he folds unfortunately to the first one. Although I really don't know how happily I would have got it in, despite the fact that that it's for value. On the right-hand side, I'm going to check raise, it looks like, ace-9 on 9-2-5. If you see my videos, he knows that I like to check raise overs and flush draw type hands on that board, and so I'm just opening up my value range there. I mean, for every adjustment, there is another adjustment, and for every assumption, there is another assumption. 5-3 suited, I was probably going to 3-bet there, but I like to call, and the reason I like to call is because he min-raised. Don't know if it was a misclick, don't know if it was on purpose. Not really all that relevant, to be honest. Right hand side, flush draw 3-bet pot, I bet. Left hand side, I check call the flop, river goes, turn goes check check, and the river goes check check, I think. I win a small one. Obviously I'm going to keep opening these awesome hands on the button. Right hand side, I have a really strong hand. I don't know how much merit there is to raising the flop. What it really depends on is whether or not whether his value range is polarized or not. If he can have like 8-9, then obviously I should be raising the flop. Left hand side, I elected to use ace-8 offsuit as a trash 3-betting hand. It was probably 3-bet folding it. I was definitely 3-bet folding it. Right hand side, still have a pretty strong hand, and I make a straight on the river, makes my hand even stronger, absolute value-wise. Relatively speaking, it doesn't change too much unless he has bigger tens. And I'm not really sure what bet size to go with here. I'm kind of stumped. I don't really think he's going to call too much, though, so I just go ahead and bet 67 and try to make him think that I am turning something into a bluff, or maybe I floated with ace high on the flop and turned a flush draw and whiffed it, or maybe I've got like ace 7 or 7-5. I mean, I'm just trying to make him think anything that would make him curious enough to look me up. I just think if I bet a lot, I'm either going to get check raised all in by better, or he's just going to fold. I mean, it's not like my hand looks extremely weak or anything like that. My hand can be a number of things. Left-hand side, I am betting with the intention of bet calling the flop. It might be a little thin. I would say it's quite a bit thin, actually. I'm not sure that I like it in hindsight. It's going to make the hand pretty tough to play. So I'm not a real big fan of doing it, but whatever. I mean, sometimes you have to increase your value range, like I said. Right hand side, we get the pocket jacks. I'm gonna go ahead and PC it. Don't want to bet call it. Don't want to bet fold it. So we're just gonna pot control it and see what happens. A lot of times here, my range is like, well, I just have a ton of shit. I have give ups. I have gut shots. I have all kinds of stuff. But by the river, it just gets checked a lot, and I have third pair, and so fuck it, I call. And we notice that he's defending me a little wider than anticipated out of position. He had not a very good hand there. He had 4 or 5 off. So on the left-hand side, we've got the queen 10 of diamonds, and I check flop, check turn. Now at this point in time, I am check calling the turn because I think that people delayed c-bet and continue with aces a ton on the turn. Now, I think that I can still represent a lot of big spades here. When I check raise, I'm pretty much only representing the ace of spades, but the chances of me having the ace of spades are extremely high. It is exactly how I would play the ace of spades 100% of the time. It would make no sense to bet 3-bet the flop, so I would never lead it. It would make no sense to lead the turn because he's going to bet it for me so much, and it would make no sense to lead the river after check calling the turn. So I would play spades like this. Unfortunately, he had the ace of spades, and he got a little tricky check raising the flop there. It looks like, anyways. But whatever. I wouldn't have been, I was a little surprised to get 3-bet bluffed on because he checked back the flop with the ace of spades. I was a little surprised to get 3-bet there. However, I'm positive he wasn't bluffing. And also, I would have been not that surprised, to be completely honest. I would have been not that surprised to see him like bet call with the jack of spades, but I was pretty surprised to see him bet 3-bet all in. I just didn't think he'd have the ace of spades, but it happens. Right hand side, he leads. Sometimes I raise here with a bluff, and so a decent amount of time I've already folded, so I'd like to go ahead and raise here. I'm semi-committing to continue, depending on bet size. The stacks are kind of awkward, because I should have made it bigger on the flop if I wanted to credibly rep that I'm trying to put all my money in with this hand, because now if I bet and he calls a turn, I would have still been a little bit over pot for a river shove. So it's like semi-awkward, not like legitimately awkward. I'm really not all that worried about it, but it's semi-awkward that that this is the sizing that goes down. At the same time, I just continue on the turn. I don't have anything, but again, I don't know what he's leading with. Is he leading with like 6-7 on the flop? Is he leading with like